Japan is an island in East Asia, known for its advanced technology, strong economy, and rich culture. However, it faces serious demographic challenges. Its population, currently around 1 to 3.1 million, is declining, and nearly 30% of its citizens are aged 65 or older, one of the highest proportions in the world. A key issue is Japan's falling birth rate, driven by economic, social, and cultural pressures. High living costs, demanding work environments, and urban migration make raising children difficult. For many young couples, starting a family feels financially out of reach. Traditional gender roles also play a part. Women are expected to manage the home, but economic necessity often requires them to work as well. Combined with Japan's long working hours and limited support for work-life balance, this discourages childbearing. In conclusion, Japan's aging population and low birth rate represent two urgent challenges that require broad policy and social reforms in the country's future. That is all from me, and I will pass it to the next presenter. Assalamualaikum.
So yeah, thank you Azhar. And then Assalamualaikum, my name is Michael bin Muhammad Izwan. Today I will be explaining about inflation in Japan based on economic theory. First, what is inflation? Inflation is when the general price of goods and services increase over time, meaning our money buy less than before. Two key theories: demand pull inflation, where too much money gets to few goods, and cost push inflation, where price rise due to increased cost of production. Now let's look at the type of inflation in Japan. Demand pull inflation happens when Japan export or government stimulus increase demand. Cost push inflation occurs because Japan import a lot of energy and raw materials, so global price hikes affect local price. Structural inflation is caused by long-term issues like Japan aging population and rigid job system. Stagflation, a mix of inflation and slow economic growth, also become a concern during global crisis. Next, we look at the effect of inflation on Japan. First, people lost purchasing power, price go up but wages stay the same. Second, the cost of living rise, especially affecting Japan elderly population. Third, inflation creates uncertainty, making business afraid to invest. And lastly, wage price spiral may occur by rising wages push price even higher. Lastly, according to theory, there are ways to overcome inflation. The Bank of Japan can raise interest rate to reduce demand. The government can reduce spending or increase tax. Japan can also improve productivity and reduce reliance on import, and control wage growth to avoid price spiral. So that's all my part. So I pass to the Muhammad Denaikel bin Muhammad Najib. Alright, thank you.
Thank you, Denaikel. First of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all my fellow friends, and of course to my beloved lecturer Dr. Hainu Akmal binti Rahim. Today, I would like to discuss our group magazine video about the inflation country that we choose, which is Japan, and how it relates to microeconomics. My name is Muhammad Denaikel bin Muhammad Najib, and let's start with my part. On this video, you guys can see the graph illustrating Japan inflation rate from 2013 to 2023 highlights a period of notable economic volatility more than 10 years, characterized by alternating phases of rising and falling inflation. Between 2013 and 2014, from the table that we do, inflation surged significantly, peaking at around 3%. This increase was largely driven by the Bank of Japan aggressive monetary easing effort to combat inflation and the consumption tax hike from 5% to 8% implemented in April 2014. However, its upward trend was short-lived. Inflation dropped sharply in the following years, falling close to zero by 2016. Despite ongoing monetary easing, inflation remained subdued, a phenomenon often referred to as a deflationary trap due to structural challenges such as an aging population, stagnant wages, and low consumer demand. From 2016 to 2019, inflation remained relatively stable, fluctuating modestly between 0.5% and 1%. These periods of low but steady inflation underscored the difficulties faced by both the government and the Bank of Japan in boosting demand and reaching the 2% inflation targets. Global economic headwind, including trade tensions and geopolitical uncertainty, further hindered Japan economy recovery. In 2020, inflation fell to zero as the COVID-19 pandemic severely impacted the economy. A deep recession ensued, marked by a collapse in demand. Widespread business closure, rising unemployment, and major supply chain disruptions, all contributing to deflationary pressure. As you can see graph on this video, from 2021 to 2023, inflation rebounded sharply, climbing to around 3% by 2023. This resurgence was fueled by global supply chain disruptions, rising commodity prices, and increased government spending through stimulus programs aimed at revitalizing the economy. Rebounding demand after the pandemic also helped drive prices up. However, the return of inflation presents new challenges. With living costs rising while wages remain stagnant, household consumption may weaken, threatening economic stability. Furthermore, Japan's long-standing structural issues, such as a declining workforce and the need for productivity-enhancing reforms, remain critical obstacles. Tackling these challenges is essential for ensuring sustainable economic growth and managing inflation over the long term. So, that's all from my part, and next I will pass to my teammates Amiruddin to explain their part. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amiruddin. I will talk about issue related and inflation to Japan. Japan, despite being a highly developed nation known for its advanced technology and strong economy, is currently facing several major demographic and socio-economic change. One of the most pressing issues is the declining aging population. With nearly 30% of the population aged 65 and above, Japan has one of the oldest population in the world. This creates immense pressure on the country's healthcare system, patient safety, and labor force availability. Additionally, Japan's birth rate continues to fall, contributing to a shrinking population. The causes are complex and interconnected. Firstly, economic difficulty and high urban living costs discourage young people from having children. Stressful work environments and long working hours leave little time for family life. Traditional gender roles also play a role, as many women are expected to handle household duties even while participating in the workforce, making it harder for them to raise children. Explanation: inflation in Japan. Japan's inflation trend from 2013 to 2023 reflects from broader economic struggle and policy efforts. In 2014, price rose quickly around 30% because the government raised sales tax and the Bank of Japan print more money to boost the economy. After that, price stayed very low or flat for many years because people weren't spending much and the population was getting older. In 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, inflation dropped to 0% because people stayed home and didn't buy as much. From 2021 to 2023, price started to rise again around 30% because the economy was recovering and things like food and energy become more expensive worldwide. Japan faced big problems like fewer workers, air pollution, not enough demand from consumers. This made it hard for the country to have stable and herd inflation in the long term. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Amiruddin. Before that, I would like to introduce myself first. Assalamualaikum. My name is Fauzan Amzar bin Muhammad Nizar and I will be presenting for part B. So the question is, discuss the suitable policies to curb the problem of inflation in a country of Japan. And we already discussed in our group for the answer. So the answer is, to conclude, inflation in Japan is a serious challenge that needs the right mix of solution by using tight monetary policy. The Bank of Japan can reduce excessive spending. At the same time, the government can control demand through fiscal measures like cutting spending and raising tax. In the long term, supply-side policies such as investing in technology and local industry can help reduce production costs. A stronger yen and temporary subsidies can also ease price pressure on the people. In short term, a balanced and careful approach is key, not just to control inflation, but to ensure Japan's economy stays strong and stable for the future. That's all from me. Thank you.
Our group decided to choose Japan as a country experiencing inflation because it presents a unique and relevant case study in microeconomics. For many years, Japan struggled with deflation and very low economic growth, which makes its recent shift towards rising inflation particularly significant. This change offers a clear, real-world example of how inflation affects national economics and how governments and central banks respond using macroeconomic tools. Thank you.
For Q&A session, the answer is inflation happens when prices keep rising, and lately Japan has been facing it due to global issues like higher energy costs and a weaker yen. So, what's the best solution? The best way is to combine a few smart policies. First, the Bank of Japan can raise interest rate to reduce spending. This is called monetary policy. Next, the government can use fiscal policy like cutting spending or raising tax to reduce demand. So that's all from me. Next, Azhar will answer.
Thank you, Fauzan. But that is not all. Japan should also focus on supply-side strategies like investing in technology and local production to lower costs in the long run. And by strengthening the yen, Japan can make imports cheaper, which helps lower inflation. Finally, short-term help like subsidies on basic items can protect low-income families. In short, no single policy works alone. The best way is a balanced mix, smart, careful, and focused on both today and the future. And with that, we conclude our presentation for today. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.